Hey folks, I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. So today's Tuesday, the 15th of August, 2023. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the revived Roman Empire. And we can find the scriptures in the book of Daniel and also in the book of Revelation. Now, I want you folks to pay a lot of attention into this biblical deciphering because although this is my 20th world first biblical deciphering, then this is actually going to be my second most important biblical deciphering of all time. Now, I believe that the rapture or that biblical deciphering that I did, to me, that was a Mona Lisa. So nothing is ever going to beat, that biblical deciphering. In other words, me deciphering the rapture of the church. That was a world first, and that is my Mona Lisa. Now, the second one is going to be this one. Okay, this is comparable to the Last Supper, okay, which was also painted by Leonardo da Vinci, alongside, of course, with the Mona Lisa. And the third most important biblical deciphering that I have is actually deciphering Israel's third temple. That's kind of like the Starry Night painting, if you like, painted by Vincent van Gogh. So you need to pay close attention to this biblical deciphering because it's highly important, because many Bible scholars have a lot of issues understanding, especially what Daniel chapter 2, verses 41 to 43 really mean, especially how, it talks about this fourth revived Roman Empire kingdom, how it's going to be, how it's going to be made, if you like, part iron and part clay, like it says there in verse 42. The toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay. So the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Okay. And, another point where Bible scholars have, a high level of difficulty is actually deciphering where it says here in verse 43, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man. Okay. Many Bible scholars have great difficulty understanding this. And it took me 4 hours today to do a complete study of this revived Roman Empire to make this biblical deciphering. Now, I have, of course, studied the book of Daniel before, and I have come to some preliminary conclusions. But today is going to be a once and for all biblical deciphering for the church, so that you folks really understand what this really means. In other words, this revived Roman Empire. Okay, and also if you read, for example, in Daniel chapter 7, verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. Okay, and so on. Just to keep this video short, and of course you got to tie all this into with Revelation 13. Okay, where it says in Revelation 13:1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and so on, if you like. So I'm going to decipher all these for you guys. So don't worry about anything, folks. Everything will be crystal clear what all this really means, okay? Now, it took me 4 hours because I really had to analyze and do a lot of, a lot of critical thinking, if you like, to come up with this biblical deciphering. Now, I do have here a number of the pages here, 6 pages, okay? So 1 to 6, okay? Now, it's very short, but I want you guys to stay with me for the whole deciphering. You can always rewind back the video and learn this, but if I can give you one tip, just stay for the whole video, because if you miss any part of this biblical deciphering, then you're gonna get yourself into a big mess and you're not gonna understand anything, okay? So it's highly important that you understand all of this, how this is going to work, and that you don't skip, with the video, don't fast forward, anything like that. Make sure that you watch the complete video, because then you will completely understand how everything is going to work, how everything is going to be put together, if you like. Okay. So, and don't worry too much because in the description box, then I'll be writing all these notes so that you can understand, what I have tried to say in the video, and that you have it for your own records. Okay, so this is my second most important biblical deciphering. This is the Last Supper. Okay, now I believe that the United Nations, um, you know, it was established in 1945, but I believe that this is actually the revived Roman Empire. Okay, now I'm gonna be pulling my notes aside here because I need to read them. So maybe I'll I'll turn the pages here to Daniel there, so that you got something to see there while I read from my notes. But bear with me, folks, because this is highly important that you understand this. Okay, now um, the fourth kingdom, according to Daniel 2:40, or the Iron Kingdom, came crashing down in 476 AD. Okay, when a German Roman commander and German legion soldiers infiltrated the Roman Empire and tore it to pieces. Okay, so according to Daniel 2:40, then basically the Roman Empire, if you like, came crashing because there was a Roman commander there, and there were many German soldiers, working as soldiers for the Roman legions. Okay, and because I infiltrated the Roman Empire, then they actually tore it to pieces eventually in 476 AD. And this is part of the punishment that God was going to dish out to the Roman Empire anyway, because if you read Genesis chapter 13, verse 3, you know what God said to Abraham: I will bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. So that is also one of the reasons why God or Jesus crushed the Roman Empire. Okay, and also because Jesus had to make choices because the Roman Empire, you know, they crushed the Jews. They burned the second temple in 70 AD, and then we all know what happened at Masada, and how then the remaining Jews had to flee to the four corners of the earth. Okay, now um, the revived Roman Empire, according to Daniel chapter 2:41 to 2:43, I view this as the United Nations. Okay, and it's a prophecy that began its fulfillment in 1945 because the United Nations was actually founded in 1945. Okay, today the main building of the United Nations is in New York. Now, this prophecy in Daniel 2:41 to 2:43, it's a prophecy that actually began. Okay, I repeat, began its fulfillment in 1945 because that's when the United Nations was founded, and and it came about, if you like. But although this prophecy has already started its fulfillment, it will come to pass at the Battle of Armageddon. Okay, so it's being fulfilled right now. Okay, so we got the United Nations established. In other words, the prophecy has begun, but it will come to pass at the Battle of Armageddon when Jesus, together with us, the saints, will defeat the Antichrist. Okay, and the false prophet, if you like, and Jesus is going to put the Antichrist and the false prophet in the lake of fire and brimstone. Okay, and that Jesus is going to slay the remnant, of that huge army that is going to fight against us, at the Battle of Armageddon, according to Revelation 19:21. Okay, so Jesus, with his sword, in other words, with his own words, he's gonna fulfill this according to Revelation 19:20. Okay, we are going to be defeating this. Antichrist, if you like. We are coming together with Jesus in white horses. Now, the question is then, why is the UN the revived Roman Empire? That's a good question. Now, you need to realize that the body of the United Nations represents, if you like, the adapted features of the society. Okay, so in other words, think of the political structure that the Roman Empire had. It started as a monarchy, and then it moved on to a republic, and then at the end it was kind of like a military dictatorship. And it was also a promoter of culture and infrastructure. Okay, so the Roman Empire had cultural events. They also built libraries. They had kind of like a healthcare system, if you like. They also allowed for business enterprises throughout the empire, and that they also collected taxes. They built roads and aqueducts to supply clean water for drinking and for farming, etc. Okay, so this is why the United Nations is kind of like a revised and revived Roman Empire. Okay, now this new revived Roman Empire does not mean that it's going to be, in my own personal view, somewhat seven European countries that will align themselves with the Antichrist, as in Revelation 13.1. Okay, in other words, the beast with the seven heads plus the 10 horns with the 10 crowns. Okay, now we know that there will be 10 kings, but three will be subdued. Okay, so what's going to happen is that we're going to have seven kings plus the Antichrist ruling. The 10 kings uh, probably represents 10 regions in the planet. Now, we know that there are seven continents, okay? Uh, but you probably need to rule out Antarctica because of the extreme cold weather. I mean, who really goes to Antarctica? I know that there are this infrastructure there for research and things like that, but it's really too cold for comfort, if you know what I mean. So perhaps maybe Europe could be split in half. Okay, you could probably have maybe Western Europe and Eastern Europe, so that you have these seven kings, if you like, ruling over these regions. You know, I'm just saying maybe it's a possibility, but what you need to think is that in front of the United Nations building in New York right now, there is a statue um, that looks like a leopard kind of thing. Okay, now the UN building is in New York. Okay, now this statue, if you like, is symbolizing uh, the beast. Um, as in Daniel 7:24 and Revelation 13.2. Now this leopard, this leopard-looking creature, if you like, is actually the infusion of a jaguar and an eagle, according to the Mexican artist that did this sculpture. Okay, so it's the infusion of a jaguar and an eagle. Now, don't forget that the Roman Empire once surrounded the entire border surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, there were European countries, part of the Roman Empire, also countries from Asia Minor like Turkey, if you like, Israel. There were North African countries like from Libya to Morocco. So practically, you need to think about all the perimeter, if you like, surrounding the Mediterranean Sea was part of the Roman Empire. Okay, so the revived Roman Empire cannot just represent seven of the most powerful European countries only of today. There are Bible scholars that say that this revived Roman Empire will be represented by seven of the most powerful European countries today. Now, I don't believe that's the case because I just told you what this revived Roman Empire is going to look like. In other words, the United Nations. Okay, you need to realize that the Roman Empire wasn't just, a whole bunch of European countries. I just told you that the whole perimeter of the Mediterranean Sea was actually part of the Roman Empire. So what you need to realize is that it has to have a wider representation, and this is where the United Nations comes in to represent the values of culture of the former Roman Empire. Exactly, folks. So that's why we have this statue of an infused jaguar with an eagle, which has wings, representing the future prophecies of Revelation 13, point 1 and 2. Now, regarding and according to Daniel chapter 2, verses 41 and 43, now, the feet and toes of this revived United Nations Roman Empire would be part iron and part clay, symbolizing that the United Nations will be divided according to Daniel chapter 2, verse 41, and it will have the strength of iron. So it will be partly strong, sorry, and partly broken, according to Daniel chapter 2, verse 42. Now, Daniel chapter 2:43, whereas iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with men. This is causing a little bit of confusion amongst many Bible scholars. Now, the mingling is between human beings and fallen demonic angels. Okay? So the mingling is between human beings and fallen demonic angels, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Why is it that men will rule with the Antichrist and fallen demonic angels with this revived Roman Empire, if you like, or the United Nations? It's because if you read Revelation 12.7, okay, it says, there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels, and they lost, as in Revelation 12.8. And because they lost, they were cast out. So Satan was cast out together with his angels into the earth, according to Revelation 12.9. And because of that, now that Satan and his fallen angels are ruling, in earth together with men, you know, then this is what the United Nations is going to be used for, if you like. That's fulfilling the prophecy in Daniel 2:43, in that iron and clay don't mix. In other words, the feeling of uneasiness of men having to deal with Satan and his fallen angels, in which they hide, because Satan and his fallen angels, they hide and oppose in their own rivalry. God made man in his image. Okay, so this is what I want to bring attention. When many Bible scholars are having difficulty, where the prophecy in Daniel chapter 2, verse 43 says, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Okay, so basically, just to recap, is the fact that if you read Revelation 12.7, when Michael had to fight Satan and his angels, they lost the war, and therefore they were cast down to earth. Okay, so Satan was cast down to earth with the fallen angels, and so and then after that, what do we have after Revelation 12? We immediately have Revelation 13, and we see how in Revelation 13 the beast arises from the water. So this is why in the United Nations you're going to have men, okay, rulers, and they're gonna be mingling with Satan and his fallen angels. They're gonna be ruling the world, if you like. So this is what it means, folks. And it's gonna be difficult for those evil men, those evil humans, to mingle with Satan and his fallen angels, because don't forget that Satan and his fallen angels, they really hide how God made man in his image. They hide that. But anyway, finally, the rock or Jesus, together with us, the saints, we're gonna be coming down in white horses, and we'll come together for the Battle of Armageddon. So we will be defeating, the Antichrist and his army, and the false prophet and the Antichrist will be thrown alive into the lake of fire and brimstone. Okay, according to Revelation 19:20, And in Revelation 20.2, Satan is bound for 1,000 years in the bottomless pit. So, if you want to look at prophecies regarding who is the rock, of course, it's Jesus. Just read Psalm 118.22, Isaiah chapter 8:14, and Zechariah chapter 3, verse 9. But there are more, of course. Now, also during the millennial kingdom reign, which starts with Jesus, together with us, with the saints, according to Revelation 20, verse 4. Then the 12 apostles will rule over the 12 tribes of Israel. That's fulfilling the prophecy in Matthew chapter 19, verse 28, in that, Jesus is going to allow his 12 apostles or followers to be rulers over the 12 tribes of Israel. But of course, Jesus will be the king of Israel, if you like. And we're going to be ruling with Jesus as priests and kings according to Revelation 5:10. So this is it, folks, in a nutshell. Um, I hope that this has been a blessing for you, because, many Bible scholars were having issues, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man. This is actually what's happening is here in this verse is that in Revelation 12.7, okay, let us go there just to recap. I'll put all the notes down on the description box anyway, okay? So what's going to happen is that um, in Revelation 12:7, um, and there was war in heaven, okay? Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought, and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was there place found any more in heaven, okay? So basically, they were cast out of heaven, as it says there in chapter 9. And, Satan and his fallen angels were cast out into the earth. This is very key here, into the earth. And so the fact that they were cast out, they got to go somewhere. And so if we go to the following chapter, okay, so he comes out, and it says here, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. So, we see Satan, okay, coming out, if you like, and to rule, if you like, to establish his power and authority in this revived Roman Empire. Okay, in other words, the United Nations. And notice how it says here on verse 2, and I saw like unto a leopard. Okay, so this we see, and we can see this image of this very similar to um, this statue that's outside of the United Nations building, okay, like I just told you earlier in the video. So we know that, the Antichrist, the Antichrist, of course, is going to die, or the son of, the man of sin is going to die on the first half, and then Satan is going to reincarnate into the Antichrist, and he's going to be known as the son of perdition. So once Revelation 13 begins, we're going to see the introduction of the mark of the beast and so on. Okay, and that's when we are going to see, Satan and his demonic falling angels ruling together with men in the United Nations. So that's all I wanted to say with this video. Now I'm gonna be doing a video later where I think the Bible scholars are having issues with the 200 million man army. Okay, so many Bible scholars are having issues deciphering Revelation 9. Okay, so Revelation 9. Okay, and so I'm gonna be telling you what I think that this number of the army or the horsemen were 200 million. Okay, so I believe that I have an answer for you as well, and I'm going to be doing this on my next video, okay? Because this is also causing concern. Many people think that, or rather many Bible scholars think that this is going to be a 200 million man army made up of the Chinese, perhaps the Chinese together with the North Korean, maybe perhaps India is a possibility. But I have a different view on this altogether. So on my next video, I'm gonna be telling you the context of what this means in Revelation chapter 9. Alright, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.